I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to talk about the month of July, because July we're going to have many intense moments and events that you'll want to know about. So the month of July, expect heated emotions that are going to rise, escalate. If you think the emotions are extreme now, just wait, because there's a lot more to come. People are going to be angry about everything. So I want you to get a grip and get ready for what's all to come down this month. Let me just say, there is a direct possibility of a terrorist attack. And yes, the United States is the place that I think there's going to be so much heated emotion that rises. And this is in preparation of what's building to this solar eclipse that's about to take place August 21st of next month, 2017. This eclipse is a total solar eclipse. And this makes it more powerful when it's total. And not only it being a total solar eclipse, it will be crossing over the United States, Washington, D.C. This is where it is most visible. So this is the eclipse path. This means this is relative to where things will be occurring. So I'm going to be talking more relative about the United States because this is where the eclipse is affecting. So we're getting ready to go into the eclipse season this month of July. And watch for a lot of secret agendas, things we didn't know about surfacing. You're not even going to believe some of the things that are about to unfold coming up over the next few months. But July it all initiates because we have transiting Mars in the sign of Cancer. Mars is debilitated in Cancer. That means it's at its weakened state. That means it creates problems while it's in the sign of Cancer. And Mars is all about anger. And being in the sign of Cancer is all about emotion, because Cancer is a water sign that is extremely emotional, but it mainly is about security. So what this means is security will be threatened. And this equates to the possibility of terrorism and anger. Energy levels are messed up. They're extreme. People are blaming each other. And this is such a polarized country right now with what's going on politically. And you're going to see the politics are going to become even more extreme. And I have a lot to say about that. So the secret plots are about to become unraveled. And another thing about Mars being in the sign of Cancer, it is coming together with the Sun. And these are two fiery planets. Therefore, you can expect not only heated emotions, but intense heat around the world. I mean, it is going to be a hot month. And as Mars comes together with the Sun, this will be around July 26th, and they will come together around 9 to 10 degrees of the sign of Cancer, sidereal Cancer. Remember, I am referring to the sidereal zodiac used in Vedic astrology, not the tropical Western zodiac. And this conjunction is so intense. When planets come together at a certain degree, that degree becomes all powerful. And you'll want to note if you have any planets around 9-10 degrees of Cancer in the sidereal zodiac. This will hit you very strongly. And it, depending on what house it's in, will reflect if it gives good or negative results. But globally for the world and for the United States, I predict there's going to be some trouble. So around this date, I'm looking at July 26th. Now, when Mars goes into Cancer, this will occur about once every 2 years. So it's not rare that Mars is in the sign of Cancer, nor is it that rare that it comes together with the Sun in the sign of Cancer. As a matter of fact, the last time it came together in the sign of Cancer was 2015 in the summer months. And relatively, it will always be in the summer months when Mars is with Cancer in the Sun. Why? Because the Sun is in Cancer in the summer months. And in the sidereal zodiac, the Sun will be in Cancer from around June 14th to July 14th. But it doesn't always come together on that exact degree. Yes, they can travel in the same sign, but when they conjunct, it's very, very powerful. One of the times that I referred back to when Mars conjuncted the Sun in the sign of Aries, which makes it very intense. That day was the bombing of the Boston Marathon. And so you see, we have issues of anger and attacks dealing with possibility of weapons. Why? Because Mars rules this. Mars rules war, weapons, anger, violence, hostility, heated emotions, especially in the sign of Cancer. And the last time that Mars was together with with the Sun in Cancer was in the summer of 2015. I went back to that time. What happened? The stock market fell. And yes, it didn't crash, but it fell considerably. And this is what's going to happen again. So as it drops, note that this is a good time to invest. And one of the things that I tell people to invest in is Ethereum. What is that? It is like the new Bitcoin. And I've been telling people all along that Bitcoin or things similar to Bitcoin will become the wave of the future. Why? Particularly this month, people are afraid. And people are afraid the economy drops. There are so many billionaires out there in the world. It's never going to crash again. We keep printing new money. There's so much money out there. But the fact is, people are afraid of traditional ways in the banking system. So the fear will help the areas and the investments of things such as Bitcoin, but particularly Ethereum. Pay attention. So there is so much about to be unraveled, but I want to concentrate on the United States chart because I'm looking at so much happening here because the eclipse energy, the eclipse path is going to cross right over Washington, D.C. This affects the United States. So what do I perceive with this? Well, with the Mars conjunction, I use the United States chart, sidereal Vedic United States chart for the Sagittarius ascendant. So therefore, the 8th house is where the Sun-Mars conjunction will occur. Now, the Sun-Mars conjunction, the 8th house represents secrets, it represents power, and it represents big money. So you're going to see that this is where the big secrets and the plots and the schemes are unfolding the most. This is where it's all happening. And there are plots with control and power. And the media is something to be watched because the media is definitely setting the tone for what's happening around the world and specifically in the United States. Let me tell you, I was just in Europe for a few weeks and there is not near this energy and media going on and on about President Trump. It's all here, it's displayed here. But what you're gonna see is the media is creating more and more hostility and polarization in the United States. It is essentially dealing with, it's propaganda. So, and if you don't believe me, you will before very long, because it's building and it wants people to become staged against one another. Wants the polarization. Why? Because they have more control over the masses when they have them controlled by fear, insecurity, and hostility. So there is a lot to become unraveled. And let me tell you a little bit about what's going on astrologically in the chart of the United States. As Mars comes together with the Sun in the 8th house, the control, power, manipulation, and the economy. Watch how this changes. That's why the last time when Mars was with the Sun in Cancer in 2015, the economy dropped. And not only that, when Mars comes together around 9 degrees of Cancer, it is aspecting the Moon in the United States chart at 7 degrees of Aquarius by its quincunx aspect. I call this the 8-6 relationship, because if you will count from where Mars and the Sun are together in Cancer to where the Moon is in the United States chart, it is 8 placements away. And this is another indication of 8th house energy. And this is Mars full aspect in Vedic astrology. Mars full aspects where it's 100% in power is 4 placements or 8 placements from where it's located, transit-wise. So this is a full-bodied aspect. As it aspects the Moon in the 3rd house, the 3rd house deals with communications. It deals with the media. It deals with how all information is transferred throughout the world, actually. So there's going to be problems, but specifically in this chart for the United States, as it aspects this natal Moon in the United States, this is where there's been incredible disregard and corruption that the media is spreading. Why do I say it deals with corruption? Because as it aspects the Moon in the 3rd house of information, media, communications, travel, it also, in this chart, the Moon rules the 8th house. The 8th house is the house that can deal with corruption and scandal. So you see, all of this is surfacing right now because it's going to be at this degree mark where it's aspecting the Moon. And the 8th house, remember, is the house of secrets. And what, lo and behold, what do we have coming up? The eclipse. And this eclipse that happens on August 21st will be conjunct President Trump's natal Mars close to his ascendant. So of course all of this is unraveling concerning President Trump. But I believe, whatever you believe, it's definitely not what you think. There are secrets that you don't know about. And these secrets, let me just say, are going to change the world for the better. I know everyone's discounting that because of what's happening, but years into the future, you're going to see that what's happening now is a divine plan, and it's going to make it a better place. Even though it is incredibly insane right now. The world is at odds. People are at odds. People are so wrapped up in their righteousness, their judgment, their fears. And they're projecting it all out there on one another. and particularly onto political leaders such as Donald Trump. And yes, Donald Trump has been known to say ridiculous things, and people distrust him because of this, because some of the things that he says are so superficial and do not seem very presidential. Yes, I'm with you on that. But Donald Trump, once again, is a reflection of the masses. As he sends out tweets that are superficial, immature, this reflects the masses. This is very much a part of the consciousness of the United States, probably of the world, but particularly of the United States. As we look at him and say, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he's the president. Guess what? That is a reflection of all the people out there. Because if you don't believe me, go read some of the comments on my YouTube. What do they say? They talk about my hair, my makeup, how I look, more than anything, just like Donald Trump. This is an example of what I'm talking about. The polarity, but the hypocritical criticism and the hypocritical, judgmental flaws of the people out there, they're the same as Donald Trump right now. Look at some of my comments on my YouTube channel and you'll see I am telling the truth. But most of all, as eclipses come, they bring up something that we didn't know about, something that we need to see, which is the truth. And if you can open your mind to realize that what you're being led to believe by the media is wrong, you're opening your mind, because that's what you have to do right now in order to overcome what is happening in the world right now. So open your mind and open your eyes and know that what you're being led to believe is not the truth. We're going to find out. Now, another thing that's going on this month that is extremely detrimental is Saturn being Gandanta. Saturn is in the last degrees of Scorpio. Gandanta, I've been saying over and over again, it deals with, it actually means drowning. What does that mean? But that things can be completely and totally out of control. And so that's what's happening right now. That's why everything seems so crazy and out of control right now. And being in the last degrees of Scorpio is the most treacherous of all, because the last degrees of Scorpio is in the stinger of the scorpion, dealing with poisons. And I've said many times, this can literally mean drowning, which means floods and storms and poisons. So this could be in the water, but somehow I think it deals more with people's minds are being poisoned to believe something that is not true. And that's the masses. That's the mass consciousness. They are not clear about what is truly happening out there in the world. Now, Jupiter is aspecting Venus this month, and so is Saturn. So this is a positive bent. And I also noticed that while Jupiter is in the sign of Virgo, it is actually in the Navamsha chart. Its Navamsha sign right now this month is in the sign of Cancer. So Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. So the fact that it is in the sign of Virgo, but its Navamsha sign is Cancer, represents that Jupiter picks up strength right now. And I think that this could be helpful, even though we have all these detrimental aspects building and exploding. This can be a time that we can invest and make some money. So I think this is a good month for investments when the stock market goes down. When the fear starts, hey, it's a time, that is the time to invest. Now, Mercury is slowing down because in the sign of Leo, where next month in August, it will conjunct the solar eclipse. So right now, Mercury is slowing down and it is in Leo, so it's with Rahu, and this is treacherous. So anything to do with, again, communications and travel are going to be very difficult throughout the month of July and August. So I hope that if you need to travel, the way to figure out if it's going to affect you personally is through your own birth chart. Realize there's a million flights that take off every day. Not everyone is going to have a problem. But if it's in your individual birth chart, then you're going to want to look at that and see if the problem affects you directly or personally. So this is a month of extreme anger, hostility. The stock market will change. It's going to go down. And the truth is coming out. Things are starting to unravel. And people do not trust. People are full of fear. And the media is breeding all of this to get control of the masses. Don't be a part of this control mechanism. So understand that what you think you believe, open your mind to believing something different. And what I would like to close with this, a way that you can help open your mind every day is by doing something you've never done before. And maybe that's a lot to ask for you to do this every day, but once a week, do something you have never done before. This will help open your mind. This will open your mind. And so whether it's like reading a book or learning how to do a program that you've never done before, or even a different exercise routine, but do something different. By the fact of change, you're opening your mind. But by staying in the same patterns, doing the same things every day, this limits you and you're not opening your mind as much as you possibly can. So the way that I think that we can all open our minds to be more open-minded is by doing something different, totally different than what we've done before. And that will help open the perspective to a different way of believing and knowing and seeing the world. So with that, I'd like to close. Remember, if you would like more information, a transcript of what I'm talking about, you can go to my magazine, which is astrologicmagazine.com. But if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, I have a new class starting. This is going to be July 19th. This is going to be a whole new class of students starting the university, which you can go to my website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. And if you would like a reading, you can go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Thank you.